Today is the day, and I cannot believe that we're finally here. Civilization 7 Early Access Preview Day. I've been very lucky to have been gifted Civ 7 early by Firaxis and 2K to preview for all of you. I can't believe I'm getting the privilege to do this. I want to say a big thank you to 2K and Firaxis for allowing me to do this coverage. It's all thanks to you guys watching this, that this channel, that we even got this far in the first place, so thank you sincerely. Now, there are still some things in Civ 7 that we cannot show yet, but what this video is going to do is spend around an hour and a half covering Civ 7. Roughly 20 minutes in the beginning of the video going over some new changes from Civ 6 to Civ 7, some new things that were just revealed the other day that I can talk about, my first impressions of the game, and then an hour of actual gameplay which will preview the first two ages of the game, the Antiquity Age and the Exploration Age. I've laid out all the timestamps for these different sections of the game on screen, as well as in the physical timestamp section of the video, so if you want to just jump straight to the gameplay, you can. Keep in mind, we only have a limited amount of time to showcase the preview for everybody, so while the gameplay is actually me playing and the actual recording is of me playing, it will be truncated to specific sections of the game that I found interesting and I felt would be worthy of showing off to everybody since I can't show the full 8-ish hours or so of pure recording for both ages. So with that being said, this isn't a review video and this is also not a paid ad, so I'm going to be very honest with you when I tell you that right off the bat I've been really enjoying Civilization 7. With how many hours I've put in since we received the copy less than a week ago, I would hope so, and I'm still playing between when this was edited and when this video has been released. There was a lot of healthy skepticism when we all went to Baltimore and play tested it there, and while I still had fun playing the game, we can only experience the Antiquity Age for around 2 to 3 hours in total. I did have fun, it's still a Civ game after all, but I had a lot of questions on how the new mechanics in the game would affect my perception of the franchise of Civ, the reaction from the player base, and kind of just the overall, would these mechanics improve the game and not detract from what was already a great Civ experience in Civ 6. This is mostly coming through a single player perspective. I just want to make that clear. I rarely play multiplayer, and when I do, it's mostly just with friends or for charity events, so I can't necessarily give specifics on multiplayer competitive scene, such as the CPL. There are a plethora of new things that have been added to Civ 7 that are very different compared to previous Civ games, but in this specific discussion, I wanted to highlight the ones that I found the most distinct that really added to the experience of Civilization 7. Don't worry, if you want to deep dive into everything new, you will be getting that later in a video from yours truly, Boes, once the embargoes lift for those days. If you've been following all the dev diaries as well as videos and live streams from Firaxis, then you might recognize a lot of this following information. In this section, I wanted to highlight these very specific changes as follows: the Legend and Foundation path system, Memento system, ages and civilization switching, victory paths, leader attributes, diplomacy and influence, and army commanders. Let's start with the Pathing Foundation system. The Legends and Foundations are a new in-house achievement system set up by Firaxis in order to have an in-game meta progression in order to, as they say in their most recent dev diary, naturally reward you for playing the game how you want to play it. The rewards from the Legend and Foundation system are two-part: cosmetic collectibles and mementos which actually affect the game. As I stated before, these are an in-house achievement system, ways to try and encourage players to finish games and continue to play the game. There are two paths, the Legend path and the Foundation path. The Legend path is specifically for leveling up leaders, each leader having their own distinct 10-level path. The Foundation path is for playing Civilization overall with any leader you like, maxing out to level 50. In order to level up each path, you earn experience points via challenges. Each path has its own set of challenges. For example, as shown here, you gain 25 experience by playing a game as Amina and reaching at least one legacy milestone path, those are the victory conditions in Civ 7. We'll talk about those later. Some of those rewards for completing these challenges are just cosmetic collectibles, like this level 6 Benjamin Franklin Legend reward banner, which gives a customizable badge. These cosmetic rewards are for your player card, a banner setup that appears in the main menu, as well as in multiplayer lobbies. Think of it as a trophy case for the thousands of hours that you will inevitably put into Civilization 7. And as you can tell, I've already updated my banner to show off that I, with my 5,000 hours of Civ 6 experience, can indeed complete all of the tutorial challenges to receive a nice little hat. For other rewards, you gain mementos. The Memento system is the other side of rewards that you get from completing the challenges in the Foundation and Legend path systems. These are actual in-game buffs that you get, which you equip on your leader before you start the game. Each leader gets 2 memento slots, and using these mementos, you can mix and match to create some incredible starts with leaders and very balanced abilities throughout the rest of the game. For example, as shown here with my Benjamin Franklin game, I am using the Antiquity mechanism, which gives +1 scientific attribute point at the beginning of the game, as well as the Corpus Juris Civilis, where I start with 1 extra social policy slot in my government. I've been using these to some incredible effect. For example, pairing the early influence mementos with Machiavelli turns you into a monster of money throughout the game. Now, mementos can be used in multiplayer games, but you can also just disable them so that way there's no distinct advantage to using some mementos over others, which may be broken, which I'm very glad they stated because I've never been a fan of forcing these type of mechanisms in a competitive setting. And just to be clear, Firaxis themselves have stated that all of these rewards that we mentioned previously, they're strictly rewards for playing the game over time. You can't just buy a pass and all of a sudden, maybe buy virtual currency to speed up the pass. It's to reward the playtime of Civ 7. Probably the biggest change in franchise history that has never been done before, well, if you don't count the game option from Civ 4 Beyond the Sword, which everyone conveniently seems to forget when we talk about Civ switching. It's that the fact that once the age ends, you choose a new civilization that transcends through the age. While you still pick your leader at the beginning of the game, and that leader stays the same, the Civ you pick does not. As you complete milestones through the legacy paths and the age comes to an end, the age will transition and you will need to choose a different civilization to pair with your leader for the next age. These civs are unlocked by 2 ways, geographical/cultural, or completing various tasks in the game. For example, playing as Machiavelli will unlock the Normans, or playing as Confucius will unlock the Ming Dynasty because of their respective geographical locations. The other way to unlock a civ is via a trigger, such as unlocking the Mongolian Empire by having 3 horse improvements in your empire. Now, actually playing with this, carrying over your previous civs' distinct districts and buildings, they're called ageless, that remain throughout the rest of the game, it is really, really strong. And it's really neat attempting to district plan for the future, being like, oh, if I'm playing as Greece in the Antiquity Age and I get a specific wonder, how am I going to lay out my unique district, the Acropolis, alongside wonders for whatever civ I choose next? Additionally, instead of the game being split up into eras like previous Civ games, such as the Ancient Era, the Classical Era, Medieval, so on and so forth, Civ 7 is split up into 3 distinct ages, the Antiquity Age, the Exploration Age, and the Modern Age. Each of these ages take around 200-ish turns or so, albeit mine have been taking less than that, probably around 150-ish each, sometimes a lot more, sometimes less. The Antiquity is roughly the Ancient Era to the beginning of the Medieval, Exploration is Medieval to the beginning of the Industrial, and the Modern Era is the Industrial to the Cold War, roughly. When you switch your civs, you'll take your points from whatever victory paths that you complete and apply them into the next age, which we will get into in a second. I will say, I was a big skeptic of this, especially going into the announcement of Civ 7, but it actually works very, very flawlessly. There are some times where it's a little jarring to see a different leader leading a different civ, but I think it's just because it's a newer thing that it might just take a little bit to get used to. But once you do, and once you start playing, it's not even something you even consider anymore, to be honest. In Civ 7, there are 4 distinct victory types: culture, military, science, and economic, also known as legacy paths now. In order to win a game of Civ 7, you must complete different milestones in each of these paths, which also progresses the game age forward. Note that while each milestone in the legacy path will progress the age and the game forward, you will need to choose one of the victory types to win the game once you get to the modern age. In the Antiquity Age, the paths are as follows. For culture, have 7 world wonders in your empire, pretty self-explanatory. Military, have 12 towns or cities in your empire, conquered settlements count as 2, once again, fairly simple. Science, display 10 codices in your empire. This is an interesting split for science, as codices are great works given to you via the tech tree, sometimes through narrative events. This rewards you for progressing through the tech tree and building buildings that can house early great works, such as libraries and academies. And finally, economic, assign 20 resources to your settlements. Simple. In Civ 7, you just don't have resources in your empire. You have to assign them, well, you don't have to, but you assign them to specific cities, so they gain the buffs from those resources. Assign 20 of them to complete this legacy path. As the age progresses, and you complete more and more of each path, you gain points through each milestone. These points are used to score and rank each leader at the end of the age, until you win the game in the modern age. This is actually really useful if you just want to play a small campaign of only the Antiquity Age, or only the Exploration, or only exploration and modern, as you get a definitive score to win the game. This is going to be really useful for multiplayer sessions where, you know, it can be really hard sometimes to get 4 or 5 people together at the same time and sit down for 12 plus hours to finish an entire Civ campaign. Just doing 1 or 2 of them and still being able to win those campaigns is actually really refreshing to see. Now, these points are also a currency to use at the end of the next age, or sorry, the beginning of the next age, during the age transition. If you complete the first milestone of the cultural legacy path, you gain +1 cultural legacy points and +1 diplomatic legacy points to spend. These can be spent on things like attribute points, which we will discuss next, as well as bonuses for buildings, wonders, yields. And if you complete the full legacy path, you will gain a golden age for that specific tree, which can be huge. For example, completing the military legacy path golden age will give you the legacy option called Pax Imperatoria Golden Age, where you gain an infantry unit in every settlement you conquered in the previous age. Speaking of legacy attributes, let's talk about the leader attributes tree. New to Civ is an RPG-like aspect of the game. It includes a leveling system to better your empire throughout time. Now, you gain points to assign these attribute trees through various systems as mentioned previously. You can get them via assigning mementos, completing legacy paths, getting some from narrative events, and there's a couple other circumstances as well. These legacy attributes are on 5 different trees: cultural, diplo, economic, expansionist, militaristic, and scientific. That is 6. I can't count. Each of these trees give you buffs on your empire, and you guessed, they relate to those buffs. Some of those buffs include things like extra production towards wonders, production to settlers, happiness on buildings, so on and so forth. It actually makes Civ truly so mix and match that finding the most optimal routes is going to be a real treat for the next few months. Diplomacy has honestly been completely revamped in Civ 7, especially when you compare it to Civ 6. If you've played other grand strategy games, you'll be a lot more familiar with this system, as diplomacy in Civ 7 introduces a new currency called influence, which can be spent on multiple diplomatic actions, from simple things like when you just denounce someone to full-on espionage. For leaders, diplomatic actions are no longer just the simple declaring wars and denouncing and being friends. It's been expanded quite a bit. You can spend your influence to have joint agreements together, like scientific endeavors, which is basically a very early allied research agreement. You can also denounce their military units on your border, forcing them to either spend influence to back off or to go to war with you. And that's how many times have you been in a game where you've just been like, why are the AI putting their units on my borders and I can't do anything about it? That's a really, really nice change. You can also use it to spend influence on war support, which is another new mechanic in Civ 7 that can affect your happiness throughout the war. City-states in Civ 7 are also used from influence in order to become their suzerain, and they're also not just called city-states, they're called independent peoples. You can use influence to incite raids against other leaders, just like you could in Civ 6 with the Barbarian Clans mode. Now, once you become suzerain of that independent people, you can also spend influence for a bunch of different options, including growing the city-state, levying units from them, boosting their military, and eventually incorporating that, I keep saying city-state, but independent people into your own empire. Honestly, the suzerain bonuses that you get from these independent peoples are pretty wild. You get different modifiers based on how many independent peoples you're suzerain from. Some of them give you an actual resource, and the incorporation of into your own empire is pretty huge. I've been really enjoying the diplomacy a lot, and I was pretty critical of it in my previous video, so it's a nice change to actually interact with it and be able to use it. And the final change, and my favorite change that we're going to talk about before we jump into gameplay, is the addition of the unit called the Army Commander. This is unlocked with the CIVIC, the Discipline CIVIC, and it's more or less a hyper great general. Army commanders are one of the ways that Firaxis was looking to reduce the amount of the crazy micromanagement that you had to do in Civ, especially when it comes to late game wars. I mean, having to micromanage 30 units one by one across a map, it gets a little tedious, right? With army commanders, you can use them to stuff a bunch of units inside them, kind of make them like a Civ 4 Army of Doom stack, march all the way across the map or to wherever you're going to go, and then deploy all of those units on the areas that you want. A big change that army commanders bring is that they're the ones that receive experience now, not the individual units on the map. So you end up leveling up your army commander once they receive enough experience from the battles, and you put those promotions into 5 different trees. These promotions affect units around the army commander just like a great general did, and its range is 1 around the commander. You can get an ability that is 2 around the commander. Some of these are giving units extra combat strength, healing units after they attack. There's a whole list of abilities. Once you get enough promotion on your commanders, you can give them a commendation. Powerful abilities like the Second Wind ability, which grants a land unit within the commander's radius 1 extra attack and restores 2 movement points. If you played Civ 6, it's very similar to Hippolyta from the Heroes and Legends game mode. Army commanders both take out the unnecessary micromanagement of units and domination, and it adds some fun complexity and abilities. And I want to re-emphasize fun because it is probably the most fun I've had in a Civ game in a very long time. There's a lot of very unique things you can do, like if a unit is hurt, you stuff it inside the army commander and then you deploy it out on the other side and run away if you have that ability. You can do things like attack and then use the Second Wind ability, put that unit back inside, deploy another one, attack. There's a lot of really unique things you can do, and army commanders are a lot of fun. There's still a ton of other things that I could talk about that has changed when it comes to Civ 7, but I'll touch on some of them while we're in the gameplay section of this video, or once again, look out for a deep dive video that will be coming out in the future. There's so much I could keep talking about, but I know what you guys actually want to see. So without further ado, here is the gameplay. This is Benjamin Franklin in the Antiquity Age. As stated before, I am going to be playing as Greece, the strategic choice. Post-production boast here, I had forgotten to actually mention what Ben does. You get +1 science per age on production buildings in cities, plus 50% production towards constructing production buildings, +1 science per age from active endeavors you started or supported, and you can have 2 endeavors of the same type active at the same time. Basically, you want to be building a lot of production buildings as you get science passively and just continue to scale by getting science through endeavors and constantly being friends with everybody. He's very, very strong. Just like previous Civ games, Greece gets the hoplite as the unique unit, +2 combat strength if adjacent to another hoplite. They also receive the Loios, I believe it's pronounced Loios. Someone can correct me, please. A great person with 1 charge can only be trained in cities with an Acropolis, which is their unique quarter. Each Loios can only be received once. It is random, and the cost increases per trained. Now, the Acropolis, the Greek unique quarter, is created by constructing the Odeon and the Parthenon in the same district. You get +2 gold on the Parthenon for each city-state you're suzerain of, meaning you want to suzerain a lot of city-states. The Odeon is +3 happiness, +1 culture adjacency for quarters and wonders. It is ageless. The Parthenon is +4 culture and +2 influence if placed on rough terrain. +1 culture for wonders adjacent, also ageless. You also get +3 influence per turn on the palace and +30% production towards constructing the oracle. AKA, you get a lot of culture and a lot of influence, and you want to be suzerain city-states. We're going to be playing on Immortal today. I've played and beat it on deity, but for now we're just going to be playing on Immortal because while I still want to challenge, I want to show you, most of the gameplay. Standard speed, continents plus, small size map, and I'll just show all the advanced options that you can do here. Pretty typical to most Civ games. We only have a few map types so far. I'm sure there will be more added on as the game evolves throughout time. But we have continents plus, continents, archipelago, fractal, shuffle, and terra. I've been playing a lot of terra incognita actually. It's been really fun playing. But we're gonna go continents plus, small size map. You can change the age length too. Determines how much age progress is required to complete an age. Abbreviated, really quick, obviously long. Self-explanatory, right? Standard. You can also determine the strength and frequency of disasters, catastrophic to moderate to light. We'll be playing with light. You can also turn off crises if you want to. We're going to keep them on just for the sake of showcasing them today. And, like I said, starting in the Antiquity Age. Oh, okay, Ben.
The people gather together, debating music and politics, poetry and law, envisaging how to build a Greece that will last for ages.
I will say, Gwendolyn Christie, fantastic choice for narrator in this game. I do kind of wish, I know that this might have been a complaint from Civ 6 because, Sean Bean just reads the entire text. Gwendolyn only reads the first narration over, this first sentence here. Doesn't read the text of Benjamin Franklin or the Greek Empire. That could just be a stylistic choice, so people aren't sitting here for, 40 seconds waiting to listen to the whole thing. I kind of missed that, though. I'm not going to lie. I kind of missed the full thing being narrated, but it is what it is. She's a fantastic narrator in this game. All right. So the first thing that you notice right off the bat that I noticed probably since day one is how good the game looks. I feel like Civ 7 perfectly balances the dichotomy that was between Civ 5 and Civ 6, right? Civ 5 was very realistic when it came to the map, kind of the hyper-realistic vibe, whereas Civ 6 was definitely a lot more cartoony, very vibrant colors, a lot of contrast, and I feel like Civ 7 kind of marriages the two very well. You have a little bit of cartooniness, you know, it's not super realistic, but you have a lot of the realistic biomes. You know, the trees look a lot better. These realistic rock formations over here. The rivers look a lot more realistic. I feel like it just looks really, really good. There are a couple things that are new in Civ 7 when it comes to settling, cities, things like that. Let me pull up the settler lens here. You'll notice that there's quite a few different tiles. This is red negate, showing that you can't settle here, right? Obviously, you can't settle on top of a mountain. You cannot settle on top of navigable rivers. You can still settle on regular rivers, but not navigable rivers. There is a distinction between settling on fresh water versus off fresh water. Settling on fresh water gives you a +5 happiness bonus, whereas freshwater or non-freshwater does not. It's still pretty similar to a lot of Civ games. You want to settle next to resources, on fresh water, next to rivers, so you can gain all the bonuses that those give you, whether it be adjacencies near rivers with districts, wonders that can only be specifically built on or next to rivers or the coast. You can still get the kind of the same idea there. I'm just going to settle on spot here with my settler. And the first thing that you're going to notice is that I don't have a unit. In Civ 7, instead of starting with just a settler, you can build a scout or a hoplite. Unless there's not a unique unit, then you just get a warrior. And it only takes 1 turn to build. I'm going to queue up 2. The second one isn't going to take 10 turns here. And then also the next thing is that because of the mementos that I chose, I get a scientific attribute for free. So I get +1 science per age on the palace and city halls. That will update on this next turn. It is currently getting it now. I think if I click this, yeah, it updates right here. +11 science per turn, and that's going to finish agriculture on this next turn. So let's take a look into the technology tree. There, you start off with 3 technologies. You have sailing, well, 3 technologies to research. Sailing, pottery, and animal husbandry. And those go into the pretty typical Civ tech tree, writing, irrigation, you know, masonry, engineering, so on and so forth. For now, I think I'm actually going to go into pottery. Yeah, I'm going to go into pottery so we can get the production on clay pits, mines, and quarries. We're going to have a mine here. We're also going to have a mine there as well. Actually, that's going to be a quarry. But the main reason is because of Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin's unique ability, plus 50% production towards constructing production buildings, is very, very strong. At some point, we're going to couple that with his leader attribute in science of plus 15% production towards constructing buildings, which stacks on top of this. And then eventually we are going to get a social policy, as well as a government celebration that allows us to get even more production. And we're going to be spamming a lot of production in these cities. And then another new thing that I really, really, really like is the search button and the lookout button for the scout. The lookout just gives you +1 range for the scout, so we would be able to see right around here. The search button increase sight range +1 for 1 turn, so it does the same thing as the lookout. However, it reveals all discoveries within twice that range. If you just press the lookout, you would stay there and you wouldn't have to come back to the scout. It would just stay on lookout for the entire time. Search just increases that range for 1 turn, and then it goes back to being able to move. But you can also see discoveries like so. So we found a cairn over here. Did we find anything else? We did not. So we're going to go up to the cairn. Another thing that is new into Civ 7 as well is the citizen management, as well as the way that the city grows and tile improvements. Whenever your city grows, we just grew to pop 2. You get the button down here, grow city. And now this is how your tile improvements work. Instead of using a builder to place them down, as you can see, there are no builders in Civ 7. You just get the tile improvement whenever you grow your city. For now, because I do want this city to grow a little bit, we have both 5 food and 5 production in the city. I'm going to place down a farm. This is going to give me 2 food, 1 happiness. Once we click it, there we go. We got 2 extra food plus 1 happiness. Let me turn on yields really quickly. You can see it here. And now it has created a farm. That is how the citizen management work. There's no going through picking which specific citizens that you want to work which tiles, and only working the 1 or 2 tiles based off of the population that you have. So it takes a little bit of the micromanagement away in the early game. I'm a hyperactive micromanagement player when it comes to playing Civ. That's how I was in Civ 6. So I'm super used to just picking which tile improvement that needs to be worked that's going to give me the best benefit. It is kind of nice that I just get all of that automatically and I don't have to worry about it in the early game, which I do think it makes the game a bit more accessible to a lot of players, and it just reduces the early game tediousness that can happen. Another new thing in Civ 7 are narrative events. We just stepped over the cairn. There are multiple different types of discoveries in Civ 7, previously known as tribal villages in Civ 6, goody huts in Civ 5, so on and so forth. Each of them are different. There are cairns, ruins, wreckage, luxury tents, camps. There's quite a few different ones, and they each generally give you a different thing. As you can see here, this place of respite has sheltered countless travelers, a symbol of humanity's perseverance in spite of hostile wilderness. We can stay for a while, plus 50 happiness towards the next celebration, and 30 culture, or 45 influence. I want culture as fast as possible, so we're going to gain that culture boost right now. That also gives us extra happiness towards our celebration. Celebrations are, just like in Civ 5, We Love the King Day, a similar mechanic where once you gain enough excess happiness throughout the ages, it goes into your empire celebrates, and you can choose, depending on what government you take, the type of buff and boost that you get. Some of them is extra production towards wonders, plus 20% culture for 10 turns, plus 10% growth for 10 turns. There are a multitude of choices, and there's a lot of synergy that you can use. For example, I generally take the extra production towards wonders for 10 turns when I'm playing the leader Hatshepsut because she gets extra production. Upon searching again, we did find 2 more discoveries. So we have a cave over here and a ruin. We'll go and gather those. Our city has grown again. I'm going to go over to this Kowloon over here on the flat grassland. It is going to give us a quarry, and that also gives us the resource, the Kowloon, which you can see over here. It is automatically added into our capital. There's no other place to put it in, so we don't have to manage our resources right now. I could take it out, put it back in. Instead of in Civ 6, where you would previously trade your resources and just have them in your empire, now you are required to slot them. Well, you don't have to. You can just keep them out if you want, but you are now required to slot them into slots in your cities and or towns, as the resources give you specific buffs. For example, Kowloon gives you plus 2 food to the capital, or plus 4 food to any other city. So we put it in here, plus 2 food. That is also how you work on your legacy paths for the economic victory, which we will talk about in a little bit. Just like previous civs, there is also governments and civic policies. We just unlocked a government because we finished researching chiefdom. So now we can choose one of three governments: classical republic, despotism, as well as oligarchy. I am choosing oligarchy here because of the 20% food for 10 turns. That one's not super important, but this one is plus 30% production towards constructing buildings for 10 turns once you reach a celebration. And that also stacks alongside this towards constructing production buildings, which, as you can see here, it is only going to take 8 turns instead of 11 turns, which is, we are going to build this. On top of that, we also now have social policies, just like Civilization 6, where you would slot your policy cards in. Civ 7 does the same. I have 2 policy slots instead of 1 because of the memento that I took with Benjamin Franklin. So we're going to go ahead and just slot them both in here. Plus 2 culture on the palace and production and science on the palace. Now we have just met another civ. Where are they? Aha! Charlemagne. Who are you playing, Charlemagne? Aksum. Charlemagne of Aksum. Okay. Let's say hello.
Ich bin Carolus. Charlemagne geheißen. Managu andere walden mit Sverdo. Ich aber walder durch Gottes Gnaden Sammerswert.
Okay. Thanks for showing me your sword, I guess. I want to be friendly with him. They can be fairly aggressive in the early game, just like other Civ games. So I'm going to reveal the capital of other leaders if nearby, just to be friendly and to say what's up. And also open borders as well, because like I said, I want him to be friendly. Oh, we have plus 10 shared government. Okay, we're probably going to be friendly most of this game then. Do we see where he's at? We do not. Oh, did I miss this discovery over here? There must have been one, and he had taken it and I missed it, which that would make sense. I believe I saw a city-state walk this way, so hopefully we run into one here shortly. I think I had mentioned it in the intro video, but they can also do things such as whenever you are asking for the research collaboration, you have to answer what they want. So you can either support it, which you have to spend influence on, accept it, which you don't spend any influence, you gain half of what they offer, or you can completely reject it. That also spends some influence, but it worsens your relation. I want to go and choose a city-state, so I'm just going to accept this. I don't want to spend the extra influence to get it, even though it would give me a lot of science per turn. But I'm Benjamin Franklin. He is beating me right now, but I'm going to be gaining a lot in the long run. So we did see a city-state here. Who is it? Sundapura, I believe they walked over here this way, so I think they're down here, so let's go. Oh, someone else is over here. They just took the cairn that I saw over there. So let's go and find them too. Luxurious encampment, we can go grab that. And let's just go scouting, see if we can find that city-state, as well as that other Civ that's over there. So another thing, since we are talking about city-states that is new to Civ 7, there are no more barbarians. There are hostile city-states now. They're just called villages in the Antiquity age, but you get two different types of city-states. There's friendly and there's hostile. Hostile ones will attack you, regardless of if you are starting to try and soothe them or not, until they become friendly with you. They act like barbarians, where they will try and raid your cities if you are close enough. You can also attack them without having any repercussions from the other civs, unless you completely destroy the city-state themselves and the civ is trying to work on them. So let's just go ahead and attack them right now. And there's another thing that you might have noticed too, because of how the game works and how all the turns are taken simultaneously at the end of the turn. The units just kind of sit here and attack in perpetuity instead of the one little attack and then walking backwards. And it kind of just adds a little immersion, I guess, if you will, to the game, because a lot of the times you'll have large battles, and instead of just showing, oh, attack real quick, attack real quick, attack real quick, if you have a bunch of hoplites here attacking into a bunch of infantry, they'll all be attacking each other. And it's kind of a cool little way of adding a little bit of immersion into Civ 7 that wasn't really there before. Our relationship changed from neutral to friendly. Look at his cheesy smile. He's cheesing so hard. I find that so funny. That's one of the funniest changes that they did in Civ 7, is when you start to become friendly or they become angry with you, their portraits change, and some of them are cheesing so hard. So he's happy to see me. We're probably going to start becoming friendly here, but I could become his ally pretty quickly if I started supporting some of his other goals, but I want to save my influence for a city-state. Let's see. There's the city-state, Sundapura, and I believe it's 170 to start befriending them. So we'll wait next turn and then attempt to befriend them throughout the course of this game. There's our celebration. Choose the celebration, and now we get to choose one of the two celebration effects from Oligarchy. I'm choosing plus 30% production towards constructing buildings for 10 turns. Fishing quays and granaries take 7 turns. Let's see how much it is once we choose this. Now they only take 6 turns. Look at that. Trailing and Civnics. Yeah, I mean, I know. I'm playing on Immortal. I'm not surprised. Since we have enough influence now, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to soothe a city-state. I'm going to take the city-state down here. It is a militaristic city-state, so once we start to become friendly with them, they will give us a gift, which will more than likely be a unit. When you befriend a hostile city-state, you start from 0 progress. You start at 0 per 60. If you are attempting to befriend a friendly city-state, you start at 30 automatically, and so it only takes about 15 turns, and you already start at this friendly section with you. So if you can, try to soothe the friendly city-states first, but for the sake of this playthrough, we're gonna just soothe this hostile city-state, and it's going to take a little bit as well. Another really unique thing, whenever you do use the lookout button, your scout actually turns into a lookout on top of a lookout platform, and he just stays there until you tell him to do something else. It's the details, man. It's the little details. So as we pointed out before with the unique units, or the unique buildings of the Odeon and the Parthenon, in Civ 7, there are also Civ-specific civic trees, as we see here, the Greek civics, and that allows you to get the Civ unique buildings, as well as some other extra bonuses, including a faster path to get the wonder that is more specific towards the region of the Civ. For example, the Oracle can be unlocked a lot earlier if you get a lot of culture in the Greek civic tree. Some other examples are the Colosseum if you play as Rome, the pyramids as if you play as Egypt, so on and so forth. Since I finished both Discipline and Mysticism, I am now going to start working on the Greek civic tree, and we're going to go right into finishing the Parthenon, or getting the Parthenon. And getting both of these buildings allows us to get the Acropolis, which is the unique quarter that I had mentioned earlier. Since we did finish Discipline, we gained our Army Commander. It is a brand new unit in Civilization 7. As I stated before, think of it as a great general on steroids that gains all the experience instead of the units, and allows you to do a multitude of things like ordering all of the units within his command range to pillage, all of your range units within the command range to fire on a specific target. That also gains +2 combat strength, as well as coordinated attacks, similar but for infantry and cavalry units. And then you can also order all of your units in his range to fortify as well. I'm going to bring him up here because we're going to go after Chungtrak. And your settlers now, when they settle a city, don't immediately become cities, they become towns, which are kind of just like satellite settlements. And you cannot build things in them for the time being. You can buy them with gold. Sorry, buy buildings with gold. You can also buy units with gold. And once they hit population 7, you can choose a focus for the city to be a farming only city, so it sends growth, production, happiness, what have you. If you have enough gold, you can convert it into a city, but we're not going to do that right now. Towns do also contribute to your settlement limit. So there is a soft cap on settlement limits. You can go over it if you want, but if you go over the limit, you get -5 happiness in all settlements per settlement over the limit to a maximum of -35 happiness. You could basically spam as many cities as you want. Nothing's stopping you. You're just going to incur some penalties. There is some drama happening. I settled this location over here. Charlemagne settled right here. And now Charlemagne has declared war on her. What a drama-filled event this is. All right, now that we're hostile, -70 agenda. I've been doing this. I denounced her. I also hindered her public morale, which is hurting her happiness. I mean, now she's at 30 happiness again, but I'm going to declare war. Formal war. No war support needed. You shouldn't have settled next to me. I told you about them stairs, bro. Now, when you start, you can support yourself with war support. I don't have enough influence right now, so we're just going to attack. And as shown before, one of the most important things, well, first we're going to go ahead and deploy everyone. So I could use the button, deploy everybody, assemble army and deploy them all. But first what we're going to do is deploy this hoplite. I'm going to do it manually here. We're going to move these units in. Micro this guy inside the army. Move him in as well. Micro him inside the army. And now use the army commander's focus fire ability, +2 combat strength on all nearby slingers. I think it's just the one that I have on me. And start attacking the city. I'm going to use our army commander's coordinated attack with these 2 hoplites near me. Take down this. And now we also promoted as well. We have enough experience points for my army commander to promote. So let's take a look at this tree. Bastion, assault, and logistics, maneuver, and leadership. I almost take this every single army commander. Initiative. Units can move after unpacking from this commander. This is such a strong promotion. That means it's pretty self-explanatory when your commander moves and unpacks all of the units from the army commander, they can immediately start attacking. And we should be up. There we go. We took the city. Raise or keep city. I am keeping this settlement. We are going to have some negative happiness in here for a while. Just like in Civilization 5, whenever you take over a city, it suffers some unrest unless you build a courthouse in there. The same thing happens as it turns into a town for 15 turns. She also seems to have been a silly Billy and moved her units near mine. Because of that, I'm going to use the army commander's new promotion ability, unpack my slinger into here, and now because of the promotion, I can attack with this slinger. So what we're going to do is use focus fire, attack, upgrade these slingers while I can. I'll pack him inside here. I want as many archers as possible right now. And that should kill him. Oh, pretty close. I did kill him. Nice. And this is why the scout lookout ability is so strong. I could see where her units are while hanging out way over here and not have to worry about it. Oh, she took over this city too? Oh, man. No wonder her science and culture, or specifically her science, jumped up so hard. And because of the way the army commander works, you could do some really unique things like adding the injured unit to your army. So that way he can run away. Deploying new units out. Deploy him out, and now he can still move and run away. Add him to the army here. And now if we take... Actually, how much movement do I have? 2. If I move right here, unpack my archer right there. Now we'll have 3 archers. Oh, he actually can't move because he had no more movement left, so... We have 2. Use focus fire on him. And that also promotes our army commander again, because I also have the plus 25% army commander experience card in as well. Well, we're at 70% of the way of the age. So now the crisis is going to start happening. How are we looking on rankings here, legacy points? Charlemagne's winning. I literally only have 1 point because I've been so so focused on war with her that I have not been doing any of the progress. I haven't been doing any of the codices, or I mean, I guess I have 8 out of 12 here, so I have 1 militaristic point. Because the crisis is upon us, we now have to choose some crisis points, and oh man. -6 happiness in settlements with unified unfilled resource lots. -6 happiness in settlements you did not found. -1 settlement cap. I think I'm gonna go -1 settlement cap and -6 happiness in settlements we did not found. That's gonna cause some really bad. -10 in here. -7 in here. Yikes. We might have some issues. Well, the city has revolted. They have joined Chungchoks, but however, we welcome the people of Saba. We have also this city have also revolted and now has become ours as well. So things are, you know, they're things could be worse. Things could be worse. The age of antiquity is finally ending. We are at 100% age progress, and I've caught up. I somehow caught up to Charlemagne. And there it is. The antiquity age comes to an end. It is time to see the age transition. I'm surprised that we caught up at the end there. I think I surpassed. Oh, he surpassed me because our cities flipped, I think. I was able to build 5 wonders. I had, I believe, well, because I took over 2 cities, so we got up to 9 out of 12 on the Pax Imperatoria. I only had 5 codices instead of 10. That's what allowed him to go. He got a golden age through there, and I only got 10 out of 20 progress on the Silk Roads. So that means I got 6 points, he got 7, and Chungchok only got 4, and poor Augustus got 0 because he got eliminated. And because of that, we also got a little experience on the foundation level. We also leveled up Benjamin Franklin a little bit more as well. And now we're going to transition into the next age. Because of who we were playing, we're able to have the Normans as well as Spain unlocked to transition to, because of Greece as well as Benjamin Franklin. We also unlocked the Shawnee in Mongolia during the playthrough of the Antiquity Age. However, we were unable to lock the Abbasid, Chola, Hawaii, Inca, Majapahit, Ming, as well as the Songhai to play as. I kind of want to play the Shawnee, but I think I'm just going to pick Spain here. Spain gets plus 15% gold towards converting a town to a city, which is increased to 30% in distant lands. They also get plus 30% production towards the World Wonder El Escorial. Their unique infantry unit receives plus 3 combat strength against cavalry units, but it only applies once and it doesn't stack. The Conquistador is their great person. It can only be trained in cities with a wharf, and each one is random. Additionally, they can also only be used in cities in distant lands, not your homeland cities. Finally, their plaza is their unique quarter. It's similar to the Greek Acropolis, in which if you build the Casa Consistorial as well as the Casa de Contratacion inside of them, it becomes a plaza. With that, let's move into the next era.
Undaunted by the ocean's expanse, Spain will follow the Song of Gold to unknown lands and make them its own.
Yes. Yes, we will. Into the Exploration Age. It has begun. In the beginning of the Exploration era, we can add legacies to our empire. These are based off of the accumulation points we gathered at the end of the Antiquity era. I have +1 scientific legacy point, +2 cultural, +2 militaristic / expansionist, +1 economic, and +1 wild card that we can apply to our legacies. Now, I'm going to spend my militaristic points on fealty. This gives me +2 settlements in my, +2 settlement limit in my empire. My cultural points on inward perfection, which gives me +1 culture for every 5 excess happiness in my settlements that I found. +1 economic attribute point, +1 scientific, and finally, I think my wild card is going to go to, +1 cultural point. I'm going to immediately use them now to take production towards wonders. I think gold per age on my palace and city halls. And production towards buildings and science towards tech masteries, Now, the catch-up mechanic in Civ 7 is very real, and you'll notice that all of our yields have been rubber banded back closer together, so that way one Civ isn't just absolutely snowballing out of control. I'll be honest, I'm still not sure how I feel about this mechanic. In one way, it definitely helps out with the feeling of just completely dominating the game and getting bored by turn 100. But I do miss the feeling of just absolutely power stomping the AI by doing niche and out-of-the-box strategies, and I think this does kind of eliminate that a little bit. I think the average player who doesn't try to min-max everything in Civ will think this is a really good change. And well, actually, there is one area I do think this is good, and it's the multiplayer area, because you know, at some point, sometimes it happens where just one person gets absolutely ereled or becomes irrelevant for the rest of the game, and they don't want to play anymore. So once the age switches, they'll be able to have the chance to play again, unless obviously someone completely eliminates them from the game. So I think that is a good change for multiplayer, but I don't know. I'll have to see how I feel. At this time, I'm kind of mixed overall about it. I don't really know. So alongside of the ageless buildings, there is a newer mechanic as well called overbuilding. Whenever you have a building in your empire that is not ageless, such as the bazaar here, or as we're about to build over here, the barracks, your new buildings in this era will overbuild on top of them, as the yields from that previous building don't carry over to the next age. You can see here that we don't have the extra bonuses from the barracks on our empire here. So I'm going to take the stone cutter, and then you overbuild. You can see on the left, this will build over the barracks. And that is a new mechanic that was added into Civilization 7. Ed Beach had talked about on length how history is built in layers. They said that previously in a lot of their presentations. And this is kind of an example of that, where sometimes buildings are repurposed for different things. You know, this barracks, even though it was useful back then, it is no longer useful in this age, so now it's going to become a stone cutter. It's a pretty unique idea. Another example of that kind of overbuilding, history is built in layers, is that now that the Colosseum is an old wonder, technically, we can repurpose it. So now we can add additional production or happiness to the Colosseum. I'm going to add production because we're Benjamin Franklin and all we care about is production right now.
The map was a model for, rather than a model of, what it purported to represent.
So with cartography finished, we can continue. Man, navigable rivers are so nice. What a great addition to Civ. We can now take our land units and go explore into the open ocean. And because of that, we have 5 out of 10 settlement limits. I am spamming settlers. You see I have 1, 2, 3 out right now. We're gonna build 2 more cogs, or another cog, and then another 2 settlers, and then a wharf. We'll probably actually take one of these settlers and settle this area over here, but the rest are going to be on distant lands. And the new addition to the exploration age is once you go into open ocean with units, they take damage. Think of it as like attrition for being away from your homeland.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
Now that PEITY is unlocked, that also means we can start working on our religion. We can't get it yet, so we'll work on economics for a bit. We have to build a temple inside our city in order to get our religion going, and I think I will go ahead and build that. Let's see. We'll build that right in here over the altar. Have we found distant lands yet? We have. So there's some coast right here. That means our settlers won't take as much damage. That noise is very, very unsettling. The damage noise. Oh, this guy's got to be careful. Let's do a little scouting here. And we can also start scouting with our cog as well. Oh, he's gonna. Why are you? I don't want to decrease my relationship with him. I want to reject the denunciation. Why does he not like me? Borders touching leader agenda. Come on, buddy. Okay. There's some. So we'll go right here. Now we found a new continent. Oh, now he's rejecting open borders. So now I have to. Okay. Well, I guess you're gonna be one of these settlers here. That's unfortunate. Hey, we met someone. Who did we meet? Oh, Ibn Battuta. Hello. Okay, that chuckle. I don't like that chuckle. Let's say hello. Let's be friendly. All right. Let's just found this settlement. People are not going to be happy, but it is what it is. All right. We finished a temple inside our capital. Now we can create a religion. We're going to choose the bug, and our religion name will be Do It For Dave. If you don't know who Dave is, watch some of my previous videos. Dave helped us get 100,000 subscribers. So if you want to do it for Dave, make sure you subscribe. So here is what I talked about in regards to the cultural age progress for getting relics. These are reliquary beliefs, and this is how you gain relics through your religion. So for example, +2 relics for the first time conversion of a city-state, +2 relics for the first time conversion of another civilization's capital city. Oh, that's there's supposed to be an S there. +1 relic for first time conversion of another civilization settlement with a temple or altar, so on and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and take the capital city And then the new belief for myself, because this is the first religion, is provides bonuses for converting other players' settlements. So in Civ 7, this really encourages you to try and spread your religion into other civs so you can gain bonuses. And I'm going to take stewardship, plus 8 culture, gold, and science for every tile that a natural wonder and other civilization settlements following your religion. Although this one might be good too for every wonder, actually. There we go. Now we have our religion. And that also unlocks a new tree in the civic tree as well. There's theology. So not only do we have our Spanish civics, we have our exploration civics as well as our theology civic, which helps you evangelize your religion. Oh, perfect. Okay, this is T. It is one of the multiple resources that you need for the economic legacy path. The legacy paths are a little bit different. For culture, you need to display 12 relics in your empire. As I explained with the religion, you use missionaries to get relics to convert religions. Economic is similar to what it was previously. However, you have to settle cities in distant lands and then gain 30 treasure fleet points from returning distant land treasures. Tea is one of them. There's also cocoa. I believe sugar is another one. And there's one more. I just don't remember what it is off the top of my head. So I've already gotten cartography. I need to get astronomy now. The military one is pretty similar. It's gain 12 points from settlements in the distant lands, plus 1 point for each settlement, doubled if it's a conquered settlement or follows your religion, quadruple if it's a conquered settlement that also follows your religion. So that could be really, really quickly. You can get those really fast. And then science is have 5 districts that are not the city center with 40 yields each. Now that one's a little bit different, whereas the previous age, it kind of encouraged you to just go through the tech tree. This one is you want to have a district or a tile that has yields of 40 or above, right? So I think my highest yield that I have is this. Well, that's my capital. Probably this tile right here. 8 culture and 3 happiness. So that is an 11 yield tile. It wants me to get up to 40 yields, which is very possible, especially once you start stacking different modifiers on everything. And then we're going to work this immediately. And that's going to start accumulating treasure fleets. Now, you don't see it right now. In Sevilla Town, we'll get the T resource eventually. Once we get this connected to our capital or a city over there. And you will see right here, it'll tell you how many turns until you get a treasure fleet.
A void without a terminal limit.
And now that astronomy has finished, that does allow us to start working on the other parts of the legacy paths. So now we have to research shipbuilding, spawn treasure fleets. In the military, now we just have to start capturing and settling distant lands. And in science, we have to research education and place specialists as well, and start displaying relics when we can. Now it's time to spread the religion of Dave into the city. Do it for Dave. We've gotten some relics now inside our well, right now they're inside the temple, but we've gotten some relics. Those definitely help towards the culture victory. We got 2 relics because of our religion. Plus 1 relic for first time conversion of oh, I haven't done that yet. Never mind. Just kidding. There we go. Plus 2 relics for first time conversion of another civilization's capital city. And then we also, I did just get an enhancer belief, the plus 1 relic slot in temples in the cities. So my temple has an extra relic slot in there. And that gave us some cultural points. We'll hit the first milestone once we collect and display 3 out of 6 relics. So we have 3 at this time. Well. Oh, Charlemagne, why did you do this, buddy? Oh, he declared war on me. We weren't even hostile, so this is a surprise war. He does have some cogs. I don't think she's gonna... I mean, she might declare war on me. Yeah, defenseless settlement. Oh, he has a unit here. I think we'll be okay. We'll find out, right? Just waiting for the double war declaration. All right, we've gotten some progress. So we've settled 4 cities in distant lands, or at least gotten the modifiers for it. Actually, no, we have 4 in distant lands. So we've gotten the legacy path. The first milestone to the legacy path, I should say, for the military non-sufficit orbis. And I think we're currently leading right now, actually. For this age progression, we are. We've got the, well, tied here. We're winning there. We haven't gotten treasure fleets or enlightenment yet. And I did start choosing this city-state, befriending them, so, or this independent power, so it should take a little bit for them to turn over. All right, buddy. Oh, man, we were building a wonder. What did we get sniped on? The Hale e Koe? Some other city. Who built it? An unmet player? Oh, my God. Oh, well. I mean, I guess we'll build the inn then. Oh. Well, what? Where did he come from? Alright, well, let's support ourselves. Where did he... Hello, sir? Is he allied with Charlemagne? He might be allied with Charlemagne. That's why. Okay. We should be fine. I don't think he's going to declare war on me. I mean, he just declared war on me. I don't think he's going to bring any units to me. He could do it to one of these offshore settlements, but that I was not expecting that. Well, someone's already getting treasure fleets. She is. Hey, we got a promotion. That is such that's such a good promotion that we just took. Land units within the command radius gain +5 healing an enemy, and then eventually you get down to they get the commando ability where terrain combat bonuses are doubled and infantry units can move and attack through cliffs. Well, I mean, we're defending. It doesn't seem like he's gonna actually do anything to us right now. Where's his capital? Did he move his capital? I think he did. Where'd he move it to? Did he move it to... Because I don't see it here. Not there. He must have changed his capital to a city over here. So let's just go north. That's so funny. Hey, leave Venice alone. Oh, we met a new civ. Who is it? Oh, hello.
Екатерина Алексеевна, императрица и попечительница искусств.
I can call you Sophie?
Но вы можете называть меня
Why not?
Софи.
Sophie. Hello. I'm Benjamin Franklin. All right. At least we have these missionaries out. We have another, yeah, this, oh, we're at war with him, actually. Oh, wait, I didn't even see this guy. Where did you come from? What a strong ability. What a strong ability. Shouldn't have done this. Okay, well, and with that, we really don't have... I mean, I'm in a little bit of a predicament here, and I don't think we're going to be winning this game. Or at least, I mean, we could still win it. We're still technically ahead on the legacy points. Well, tied. But Charlemagne has had a... He took over Venice. He took over Indrapura. He took over Corinthos. And it also looks like Chung Truct is about to take over me. So I think this game might be a loss here, or at least close to it. I mean, we could still technically play. They just don't want to make peace, and it is what it is. I was being hyper greedy, like I'm building the Tomb of Askia in my capital, so, but that's okay. I think that will end that right here. So with that, I hope all of you enjoyed this preview of Civilization 7. Honestly, I cannot wait until the full game is released and the entire gameplay across all 3 ages, including the modern age, can be shown to you all. This was a truncated amount of gameplay. It was hard to fit all roughly 8 hours of gameplay into this 1 hour period, so I hope you enjoyed it. It's going to be really exciting seeing all of the rest of the civs and leaders to be announced and released. And if you have any questions for me in regards to the 2 ages that we went over or anything about Civ 7 that I can answer under the embargo limits, please let me know in the comments below and I'll try to answer as best as I can. If you want more Civ stuff in the future, please subscribe to the channel because there's going to be a ton of Civilization 7 content published by me once the game fully releases. This includes guides, tutorials, shorts, game challenges, and full game playthroughs of all the leaders. I'm also going to be doing an A to Z challenge on my stream, twitch.tv/boesthius. I'll also be streaming on YouTube as well, going through all of the leaders A through Z. I've done that on every single Civ release, specifically with Civ 6. I did it through all the expansions as well as the New Frontier Pass. You can also join my Discord at discord.gg/boast. You can join the community, yell at me on Discord, ask questions there. The community will be gladly to help. And once again, I want to give a big thank you to Firaxis as well as 2K, gifting me the game early so I could showcase this preview for you all. And all of you, a big thank you as well for watching my content, getting me to this point where I can even enable that to happen. So thank you once again for watching. Thank you all. Do it for Dave, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.